So apparently, according to them and according to the writers of Snow White, women can't even want to be in love anymore.
Rachel Zegler is extraordinarily woke, but she's woke in a way that's quite deranged.
Pretending like Rachel Zegler is the first of them all when she looks like Lord Farquaad in the film.
Rachel Zegler was meant to be Disney's next major star, the Golden Girl, the future of Tinseltown royalty. But fast forward just a few months, and that radiant shine has morphed into full-blown crisis management, the latest in a long series of humiliations now.
Now, I'm guessing that she's not married. I'm guessing that she doesn't have kids. The movie is a complete disaster, by the way.
Disney deleted Someday My Prince Will Come and made a modernized feminist alternative.
Broke out with this news, and I'm very, very, very excited and looking forward.
Nobody wants a movie about true love? What kind of woman do we want out there seeking true love, Eliana? It's the outrage.
Zegler is now reportedly insisting that Fox remove a Family Guy episode from broadcast. An episode that viciously ridiculed her unsuccessful stint as Snow White. According to sources, the jab wasn't just a fleeting dig. It was a thorough takedown that aired before millions, adding salt to the already very public wound of her faltering career. And here's the twist. Instead of shrugging it off like most A-listers would, Zegler allegedly lost it behind.
They spent $170 million to make the thing, and it had the lowest opening, under $50 million, of any of these live-action Disney remakes that they've ever had.
Oh my God.
No one on the right side of America can stand the star of this movie.
It's got extra musical numbers that are incredibly unnecessary that really add to that runtime. And let me go ahead and let you know that they're absolutely atrocious.
The scenes, urging the network to erase the episode entirely because it was simply too harsh. But when you star in one of the biggest box office disasters of the year and then try to stifle the ridicule that follows, you're essentially giving the internet a front row ticket to your own breakdown. But the Family Guy moment is merely the surface of the issue.
Rachel Zegler, like so many kids raised on TikTok, she's all for infanticide is the only global solution.
Doing catastrophically. They spent $300 million, and it currently has a 2.2 out of 10 rating on IMDb.
The movie has a major identity crisis.
This is just so typical of the left. The progressives always finding a way to find their way back to doing something not progressive.
Remaking the movie, they just got rid of the dwarfs, but they have one token dwarf amongst these magical creatures. You actually just went backwards. You actually just erased the dwarfism side of it. The disability, like we're a disability group, you just erased that whole.
Because, if we're being frank, this is precisely the fallout you'd anticipate after the utter catastrophe that was Disney's Snow White remake. Here's what happened. In one of their recent episodes, Family Guy did what it does best, skewering. Celebrities who take themselves a bit too seriously, and right at the heart of their target was Rachel Zegler. The show didn't hold back, mercilessly mocking.
Controversy in Snow White. The dwarves have been eliminated in the live action.
Yeah.
Now it's Snow White and the 7 magical beings.
Wait, it's 7 and the magical beings?
Yeah,
they won't even say
magical
and the 7
beings.
dwarves?
No, because they're not dwarves. For right now, that's the only jobs that are there.
I sat through the whole thing. This was really bad. It was extremely leftist on every political dimension: racial politics, sexual politics, class politics, regime politics. Its narrative was cowardly. It was just awful.
Have they ever thought about maybe like a little bit of like, I don't know, vulnerability study, opposition research, that sort of thing before you go and hire some Zoomer who's a lunatic?
Her rigid, uneasy performance as Snow White, even tossing in a few jabs about her off-screen antics. It was brutal, it was icy, and honestly, it was somewhat hilarious. But apparently, Rachel didn't agree. Rumors suggest she immediately shifted into crisis mode, contacting Fox with a request to yank the episode completely, claiming it was degrading and crossed a line. But here's the reality. This is family.
They say all you have to do to make your wish come true is let it echo, 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 echo.
Last week was a very big week, objectively a huge week. We had quite a few announcements as a first live-action film, which is Snow White and the Evil Queen. And that's me, I'm Snow White, which is so funny.
Guy. They've lampooned everyone from Britney Spears to Tom Cruise to Leonardo DiCaprio. Nobody's exempt. And if you can't handle the satire, Hollywood might not be your arena. Instead of letting it slide, Zegler's alleged outburst only added fuel to the flames. The internet erupted with memes and ridicule, turning the entire ordeal into a circus. Critics didn't just chuckle at the episode, they mocked Rachel for being the only one who seemed unable to laugh at herself.
It's awful, generic. Never mind that the lyrics make no sense at all. All you have to do to make your dream come true is let it echo. Is it like on a metaphor?
Part of the first, fairy tale ever told.
She came out and she said, I apologize. Like I went too far, but it wasn't.
And just when it seemed things couldn't worsen, people began linking the dots back to the true reason why Rachel's an easy mark right now. The Snow White fiasco that she still can't escape. Let's not mince words. Disney's live action. Snow White remake wasn't just a failure. It was a monumental disaster that's now being whispered about as one of the studio's most humiliating box office flops in recent memory.
Queen, playing the evil queen. It was pretty amazing.
And you know the saying, go woke, get broke, and Disney's going to lose money on this movie. And I believe it only made less than $1 million.
Hardcore. They're petrified of some kind of backlash.
With a massive budget hovering around $250 million, Disney had bet on this remake being another billion-dollar blockbuster. Merchandising, theme park tie-ins, global hype, they wanted it all. But instead,
so she comes off as an insufferable, whiny brat.
There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Weird.
Snow White stumbled to a pitiful, awkward 194ers. 8 million worldwide, falling painfully short of even breaking even. And when you factor in marketing costs and distribution, we're talking about a project that likely cost the studio well over $100 million. So what went wrong? Well, it doesn't take a box office expert to figure it out. Fans weren't sold on Rachel from the start. From her odd interviews where she criticized the original film as outdated and strange to her clumsy press tour moments where she couldn't seem to decide whether she honored the role or wanted to torch the entire legacy, Zegler managed to alienate the very audience Disney was relying on to show up. The backlash was swift and brutal. Longtime Disney fans called for boycotts. Social media tore apart every clip of her calling Prince Charming a stalker or laughing about not needing a love story. And all that negative PR translated directly into empty theater seats. To make matters worse, behind the scenes, insiders say even Disney began questioning their own decisions. Some reportedly believed that Zegler's public remarks and the way she handled fan criticism played a major role in killing the film's momentum before it even premiered. So when Family Guy took their shot, they weren't exactly punching down. They were kicking someone who was already sprawled out on the Hollywood pavement. And that's the part of this story that Rachel Zegler just can't seem to grasp. Rachel Zegler didn't just stumble over bad press, she practically invited it. And the internet? Oh, they were ready. It began with her tone-deaf critiques of the original Snow White, where she smugly called the classic weird and outdated, rolling her eyes at the idea of a love story or a Prince Charming. Instead of showing even a hint of respect for the project that was supposed to be her big Hollywood break, Zegler positioned herself as the rebellious, new-era face of Disney without realizing she was pushing away the very audience that would have shown up for her. But the hits didn't stop there. Every time she spoke on social media, the backlash seemed to double. Whether it was mocking traditional fairy tales or tossing out hot takes that rubbed fans the wrong way, Zegler turned her own press tour into a disaster zone. Instead of focusing on the film, headlines were all about Rachel versus the fans. And while most actors know how to play the game, Rachel doubled down, turning off comment sections, blocking critics, and acting like the audience's frustration was the problem, not her approach. The more she tried to silence the criticism, the louder it got. Every interview clip, every awkward red carpet moment, every viral TikTok breaking down why Rachel Zegler is the worst Snow White ever. It all added fuel to the fire. The controversy became so widespread that it wasn't just casual moviegoers talking. It was Hollywood gossip channels, meme pages, even fellow influencers calling her out. The sentiment was clear. If you're going to step into an iconic role, maybe don't start by insulting the fans who actually care about it. And once the movie bombed at the box office, all those angry voices online felt vindicated. Zegler didn't just lose goodwill, she burned through it like lighter fluid on a pile of Disney dollars. But unfortunately for Rachel, the internet doesn't forget, and neither does Hollywood. By the time the dust settled on the Snow White disaster, Rachel Zegler's career wasn't just bruised, it was on life support. She might have hoped that the hate would fade, that people would move on, but instead of bouncing back with a splashy new project, Zegler's so-called comeback started flopping before it even began. Her next big gig, playing the lead in a Westie. End revival of Evita, a theater role that should have been her redemption arc, a chance to remind everyone that, at the very least, she can sing. But here's the problem. Nobody's buying tickets. Reports out of London have been brutal. Rows of Mozilla 5.0, Windows NT 10.0, Win64, x64, Apple WebKit 537, 36, KHTML, like Gecko, Chrome 128, 0, Safari 537, 36 empty seats, ticket sales struggling to get off the ground. And let's be honest, when you're leading a major stage production and you can't fill the house, that's not just a bad night. That's a flashing neon sign that your star power is fading fast. The word going around, audiences are simply over it. Whether it's the ongoing backlash from Snow White, the endless drama on social media, or just sheer overexposure from the wrong kind of headlines, Rachel's reputation isn't just damaged, it's toxic. Producers are reportedly getting nervous. Insiders claim there's concern about how long Zegler can keep landing roles if the negative press keeps following her like a shadow. Because here's the ugly truth about show business. Once the audience turns on you, the offers dry up fast. And for Rachel Zegler, that moment might already be here. Meanwhile, back at Disney HQ, let's just say the mood has been tense. When the studio first greenlit Snow White, they probably thought they were setting themselves up for another billion-dollar juggernaut. But after the movie tanked at the box office and the backlash reached a deafening roar, even Disney couldn't ignore the warning signs. Insiders have leaked that Disney execs were blindsided by just how bad the fallout really was. The casting choice, the rewrites, the messaging around modernizing the story, all of it blew up in their faces. And instead of owning the mistake, the studio tried to push forward like nothing was wrong, which only made the problem worse. But behind closed doors, damage control kicked in fast. Disney started hitting the brakes on several other live-action remakes, with sources saying that projects like the Tangled reboot have been quietly put on pause. And the reason is obvious. They can't afford another Snow White-level disaster. What's worse, some reports suggest that there were people inside Disney who warned leadership about casting Zegler and the risk of alienating fans, but those warnings were ignored. Now, with the financial losses stacking up and the brand's reputation taking a hit, those voices are sounding a whole lot smarter. And as the memes and mockery continue to roll in, one thing's clear. Disney isn't just regretting the film, they're regretting the face they chose to lead it. At the end of the day, Rachel Zegler's fall from grace feels like a masterclass in how to fumble the bag in Hollywood. She had the golden ticket, the Disney princess role, the chance to step into a legacy that's launched careers and built empires. But instead of embracing it, she torched it. One cringy interview, one tone-deaf social post at a time. Now, with her reputation in tatters, ticket sales flopping, and even animated shows like Family Guy taking swings at her, Zegler's career feels less like a Hollywood fairy tale and more like a cautionary tale. Because here's the reality. Audiences might forgive a bad movie, but they don't forgive arrogance. And right now, Rachel Zegler has given them nothing but reasons to root against her. The question now isn't whether Snow White will recover.